I think the other thing as well, like any journey, you want to kind of prepare for that journey, especially a long one where you're not quite sure where the end point is. I'd be looking at things like putting together a team internally that could take the burden, because it's a lonely old journey, this, if you're by yourself in an organisation trying to get ahead of the GDPR, especially with all of the the headline fines and all of the noise around it. So I'd be looking at sort of internal champions, people in positions where they might not be positions of seniority, but they're positions where they know their business sectors, they know their department, and making it very easy to communicate that journey with that we're going on this journey. And if you're going to communicate that, you're going to have to kind of put a pin in your own position as a business. You're going to have to say, look, we're taking this seriously or we're not. I think the other thing as well is making sure that you define your own company's approach to it, and celebrate the fact that you're going to go for gold standard compliance, or communicate the fact that you're going to do the best you can under pretty difficult conditions, given there's less than 100 days. And then don't just have a couple of internal champions. Think about building your team outside of the business as well. I think the next thing to do is look to the supervisory authority in the region you're in. So in the UK, it would be the ICO, the Information Commission's Office, and their 12 steps guide is probably a great starting point. It breaks down the 12 steps that you should be kicking off this journey with. The obvious ones are mapping your data, understanding what data you process, where it comes from, where it's stored, who processes it on your behalf. Really starting to evidence this journey, so documenting as you're going through. What I like, I suppose it's skewed a little bit because you have the GDPR, which we're talking about primarily, but you also have another regulation, European regulation, sort of looming in the background, called the e-privacy regulation, which for marketing is another thing to think about. But the e-privacy regulation replaces the privacy and electronic communication regulation that we have now, which is PECA, and PECA really comes into place when you are tracking, deploying electronic comms or tracking technologies, and EPR will repeal and replace this when it comes into effect.
I really like the idea of somebody champion the data protection. Legally as well, there might be an obligation on the company to appoint a data protection officer, particularly even on small companies that are handling large amounts of data, marketeers, that type of company. But just because the legal obligation to appoint the data protection officer doesn't apply, there's no reason why somebody shouldn't take the lead and sort of champion that, and make sure as well within the organisation that they've got enough power to sort of bring things to people's attention if things aren't being done properly.
That mindset of just because we do has to disappear. We have to become more accountable, and in becoming more accountable, we should feel more empowered. We should know that when we are communicating the right level of privacy information to our visitors, our data subjects, they're opting in or they're refusing on a consideration, considered principles, and we should then have far more effective data to use, and a far stronger bond with our customers based on trust.